Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fantasy Tip Show. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Game week 17 is already here. The game weeks are coming very, very fast again. Little time to sort out your teams out. And I have two special guests with me again. Ray, how are you?
Very well, Glenn. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Derek? Your mic is muted.
I had to unmute myself. I wanted to mute it while I was thrashing around in here. I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Ray's definitely good. Yeah. We also hope you go to the new year, and let's hope the FPL team makes us even more happier. So let's do the game week 16 review first. I'll start with your team. Ray, how did you do in game week 16?
Well, it was a bit of a car crash for everyone, wasn't it? So I think my idea really was to just stay around the average, and I did. I went down about 10,000 after going up about 1.3 million places in like 5 game weeks. So I think with a very low red, I'll take it really, considering I had 10 players who were able to get out on the pitch. So I got away with one with Dallas because he was actually on my bench, because I had James Taylor and Justin to start. And the Leeds guys did me well. They got me 20 points. They got me almost 50% of my points. So I think I'm looking good. I think with the reschedule of the fixtures as well, I don't need to use my free hit, but I'm sure we'll get into that later. But Salah's disappointed me a little bit. Just doesn't have his shooting boots on right now. But I think with someone like Salah, it's just a matter of time until he'll haul, really. So as long as he's getting in the right position. So, I expect him to start doing some stuff in the coming weeks. So, that's me.
And I wanted to ask about Dallas. Why were you benching Dallas against West Brom?
Well, I thought after West Brom performed so well against Liverpool, actually, I thought they'd actually give Leeds quite a tough time, and Leeds aren't really renowned for their defensive stability, especially after the Burnley game where they should have conceded a couple. And I thought James Taylor and Justin were going to outperform Dallas. That was my hunch. And I was very much humming and ahhing, and I spoke a bit with Derek about it as well. So I decided to bench Dallas, got away with one. But at the same time, Taylor did get injured after like 5 minutes. I thought I was owed that haul by Dallas, but who would have thought 12 points, man? So
So you'll take that 43 points qualification for the cup. So I'm guessing you'll take that. Derek,
like Arsenal, I'm a cup team. So like Arsenal, I'm a cup team.
Like as a cup team. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, Arsenal fans have to qualify for this. This is like our thing, like suffering in the league. But the cup, we need to win it. So, Derek, your team is next. I mean, privileged, one of the privileged ones, about 50 points.
Amazing.
I think it was 60 minus 4, 56 overall. It might have been 56 minus 4, but I think it was 56 was the total. My wild card, I kind of lucked out in a way. Felt really good to only be down to 2 of the guys in the postponed fixtures. For me, just thinking about what Ray was talking about, I've had Meslier for quite a while, and I got him in because he had these great defensive fixtures, and they don't play City and Liverpool until like match week 32. I got him in for Matt Ryan weeks and weeks ago. And I think Ray made the right call, and there's kind of luck on your bench that you deserve, like Ray said with Charlie Taylor's injury. But I think even with that, I think you started the right 3. You can't bench Reece James. You can't bench James Justin and the Leicester boys, when they have decent fixtures. So I think you deserve to get some jammy clean sheet points when you had guys that probably should have got clean sheets and didn't. So like for me with Meslier, it's like with a goalkeeper, you almost kind of pick a crap defense because you want him to get shelled and get some save points. And I feel jammy every single time I get a clean sheet from him because I know Leeds don't really deserve clean sheets. So you're hoping for kind of some of what he's done, which is make some worldly saves and keep his team in it. And he's not very good himself in the box defending set pieces and such. But I've gotten away with it. He's done really well for me, and so I totally understand kind of that game you play with Leeds defenders where you could feel a little jammy when you get your points. But I think you deserve them there. For me, United boys came off very late. I just, got sporadic returns. Maybe the same sort of disappointment with Liverpool as a whole that Ray had with Salah in particular. Went with Mane. He's the only one I could afford. I'm actually on 0.0 budget. on this wild card, so that was nice to just kind of land it. But the Liverpool thing, I was kind of losing my thoughts on that. I knew Salah, like you said, it's only a matter of time, Ray. I felt like Salah was due to have a couple blanks. Now I'm sitting here like, okay, now I've pushed my luck a little bit. He's blanked a couple times. I've made some nice gains when he hasn't. Frustrating thing for me the last couple of weeks here are the 2 captain blanks from Rashford and Mane, where I felt like I could have really made some ground up. You know, when you have a nice week like this, you have guys returning, you hope you get at least, if I even 1 goal for my captain or something would have really helped me. And certainly it would have cushioned the blow if, okay, now this next week, I'm probably going to have I might have somebody other than Kane or Salah as my captain or the big gun. If I go differential again, like I want to do, it's like Ray says, it's a matter of time. I'm going to be pushing my luck, and at some point it's going to burn me. And, the big hitters will be back and they'll do it again and I'll get hurt. So you want to strike while the iron's hot, I guess. But yeah, I'm very thrilled with this week in particular. So.
Awesome. Before we get into my disappointing team, I wanted to ask a question, Dre. How do you usually approach every single week? Do you usually captain and vice captain players from the same team? Because that is what has kind of killed people this week, like having Kane and Son captain, vice captain, or De Bruyne and someone else from City. Do you usually captain or vice captain the players from the same team, or you like this is just a one-off bad luck week?
No, I always try and kind of spread my players anyway, including the captain. I always look at different players, and even like with my selection, I rarely ever have triple from the same team because I think it's too many eggs in the same basket. So it's the same with the captaincy as well. But Derek will notice I'm always a form of a fixtures guy, so I'll usually pick the players who I feel are in the right form rather than they got West Brom away kind of thing, So I'm not for one, and I'd never advocate it actually. Even if, for example, you think Sterling might be rested, I would never vice captain De Bruyne, for example. I'd rather vice captain a player from a different team personally.
How about you, Derek?
Yeah, a lot of times I don't think too hard about that. I guess what happens for me most of the time is if I'm down to something like Sterling or De Bruyne, like Ray said, I've chosen one or the other. So I'm like, well, I prefer Sterling over De Bruyne this week. Usually to me, that means De Bruyne isn't my second best option. Usually there's, okay, if this isn't going to work out, to me, it's not going to work out for either one of them. Right. So like, it's not going to work out as well as you would think. That game isn't going to turn into a high score. City aren't going to hang 5 on Burnley. So my next option is, Kane has Leeds, and I think he's got a basketball game that could happen here and that could break out, and I want to have that. To your point, it's interesting Ray talks about how he just likes to stick with form quite often. He's quite right. We talk about that on the show a lot, that's his way to go. I want to come back to that when we talk about captaincy this week, because I think it's a very interesting. That's ringing in my ears this week because I think it's a very interesting discussion, because you could easily get seduced by various fixtures. Although I think you kind of have to get seduced by the Leeds fixture every week this season, because they just leave themselves so open. But getting ahead of ourselves. But I want to come back to Ray's point there, because I think it's interesting for captaincy this week.
Awesome. Now let's get into my disappointing team. You had 43 points, Ray, right?
44, I think. Yeah, 44.
Yeah, I had 43, and luckily the defense helped me qualify for the cup. The rest of the team is pretty terrible. Again, Salah blanking again. Derek Ray, that is my 7th captain blank in a row. I'm heading for a record, and it's not like I've been captaining. I only captained Aubameyang once. It's not like I've been captaining players who are all over the place. It's been Kane, it's been Son, it's been Salah, it's been Mane, It's been Gabriel Jesus, it's been De Bruyne. All of them have blanked. So it's not been very, very great. The thing I'd say, the Arsenal double up really saved me. Vestergaard getting injured a couple of weeks ago has been a downer, because since then they've kept 2 clean sheets, and I would have had the Southampton double up at the back.
He's the best one to have too. Sorry, that's that's a real bummer, because you had the best one. I wish I'd gotten in on him. Yep.
Yeah, Ayling, exactly what I was asking Ray why he was benching Dallas, because Dallas is one guy I would love to replace, like Ayling. I'd like to replace Ayling with Dallas, but I can't afford him right now. I can't afford that transfer right now because there's no time or space for it. Bellerin, obviously, clean sheets against which team did we play? Brighton. Attacking returns could come for them anytime soon. Like, they get forward so many times. Target Lewis. Lewis came in for that 1 point. I was so happy because I knew that 1 point could be the difference for FPL Cup qualification. I've never been so happy for 1 pointer coming in. Target 2 points. Ward-Prowse 2 weeks, no returns, disappointing. But every time he takes a free kick, it feels like it's going to be a goal. So it's always very unlucky. As I said, Salah blank again. Now, the thing with Salah, every time I don't have him in my team or I don't have him captain, he always scores those chances he was missing the other day. Like those one-on-one chances, he always finds a way to score them. Grealish, again, that's like 3 blanks in a row, something like 5 weeks without a goal. He always gets a few assists here and there. Callum Wilson, 2 points. Wilson was very unlucky not to score against Liverpool. I don't know if you guys saw that. He had a couple of good chances. Calvert-Lewin obviously didn't play.
Yeah, real quickly, just I know Fabinho came over and made a kind of a miraculous little toe poke tackle on that main chance where he completely did over Nat Phillips, if that's the one you're talking about. So yeah,
that's the one.
That's the one I'm talking
Liverpool.
about.
He came real close. Yep, and he looked really good. You know, he was good.
That's the one I was talking about because he missed it, and then after like 3 minutes, Salah had his chance and missed it. So that could have been 15
that's
points
what I mean.
right
In
there.
fairness, though, so sorry, right? Or Glenn, just in fairness, he didn't miss. I think he put it on target because Fabinho's foot got in there and kicked it away. So that's what I mean there. Don't feel like Wilson fluffed his lines. If you're a Wilson owner, oh my God, how did he miss that? No, he didn't miss. I think there was a great tackle. So
when I have you in my team and Salah is blanking, I need you to do miraculous things. I mean, cut in or something, just get past Fabinho, do all the magical things in this world. So yeah, I was quite happy with that FPL Cup qualification, and FPL Cup qualification is what you're going to be talking about next. Derek, FPL Cup. You've qualified, obviously.
Yep.
Have you taken a look at your opponent?
No, I haven't. I'll have to. I know last year was so funny. I ran into a guy. The team name, I'll never forget. The team name was Salah, and the manager name was Salah. And I'm pretty sure he was on minus 87 before the week started because it was one of these teams that just takes massive hits every week, I think, to get the top score. So I couldn't possibly lose. And then I lost the next week to a guy that had Kepa in goal. So that tells you how bad my cup run went last year. I know it's not something I've paid too much attention to. Granted, this is only my second season playing. I love the cup in the Sky game, but in terms of I kind of qualified with a breeze. Like as I kind of had a poor season so far, and funny when the cup qualification came up, I really kind of had it easy because the average was really low and I did okay. For me, I just play my game. If that's kind of what you're asking, like how do I beat this guy that's in the cup? I think you just have to keep playing your game because obviously, like in Sky, you have a second 11 that some players will kind of use as their cup team, and obviously you can't do that here. So unless you have multiple teams in FPL, you got to do your dog's email address, then you can't really play for the cup without kind of risking your overall FPL strategy. And I've got too much going on right now because I want to play a bench boost in 19. The chips will fall where they may for the double pun there for the cup for me.
Clearly, you're just like Klopp, the Liverpool fan you are. Don't care about the cup competitions. I'll tell you one person who care about the cup competitions. Ray and me, Arsenal fans, we care about the FA Cup. We care about the FPL Cup. Have you taken a look? Have you taken a look at your team?
Of course.
Or your opponent? Your opponent here.
Yeah. So his name is Netflix and Chilwell, which I thought was pretty cool. And he got the same. Yeah. And he got.
I saw that name preseason. People were talking about that. That's like a major. Anyway, that people know that team.
He got the exact same points as me, so 44, and he's currently ranked at just over 96,000. So he has a pretty good team, but similar like Derek, I'm just going to play my game as I do week to week. It's working at the moment, so I'll stick to that. The guy he has in his team, which probably the two guys are Robertson and Kane, who I don't have. Those would be the guys that scare me, but he doesn't have Son, and he doesn't have well, that's about it, really. That's probably the only one he'd be scared of on my team. But yeah, similar to you, it's all about the cup. So yeah, who cares about the league?
Again, just like Arsenal, I got a tough draw in the cup. I mean, this season we got the likes of Liverpool and City in the cup competitions. Myself, I also got a team, I think they're like 100k and above. The team name is An Attempt Was Made. Yeah, an attempt to murder me in the next game round. They actually have like 7 similar players to me. They have Kane, they have Calvert-Lewin, Son, Grealish, they have I think McCarthy in goal or something. They have like 6, 7. They also have Gabriel as an Arsenal cover, but he's not going to play. The worry is that he has Bruno Fernandes and I don't. That is what scares me. He has Bruno Fernandes and I don't. He also has Bamford and I don't. So those two could be the difference here. He also has Cancelo, but I don't know which team Cancelo is playing this weekend. I don't think he's going to keep a clean sheet. Is he going to be home or something? So it's going to be tough anyway. So what's the farthest you've ever reached in the cup, Ray?
This first time I've been in the cup, because last year was my first kind of play around, and I finished about 250k. So I have no idea what to expect, really. So you?
I didn't qualify for the cup last season. The previous season before that, I think I won like 7 game weeks or something. I reached like game week 26 and then I lost. I was so keen on reaching the final, but it's almost impossible. If I actually reached there, oh my goodness, it would be awesome. So, Derek, what's your target? Are you just like Klopp? You don't care about the cup, do you?
I mean, it's a lot of fun for me to check. That's so funny. No, I'm going to start my kids. That's why I'm starting Martinelli this week. I'm starting all the B team, except Martinelli is probably your A squad right now. No offense. It's not offense. Actually, I think he's fantastic. He should start. I love the guy. I did pull the guy up. It looks this feels a little bit like a dead team. I imagine Son is third on his bench because of auto subs, though. He's got Son, Gabriel, and Zuma and so we know those guys were all out. Why I think it's a dead team is he has both Gabriel and Vestergaard. So his team got 39 points last week. He had Alisson in goal, and he's got Martinez on the bench. Trent, Chilwell, Vestergaard. So he probably had Trent, Chilwell, Zuma starting, or Gabriel, and the
feels like a zombie team almost, doesn't it?
I think it is a dead team. Salah captain, so it's a pretty good zombie team with Neto, Grealish, Tielemans, and then Brewster, Bamford, Calvert-Lewin. So he probably wild carded, about the time Neto started scoring and Tielemans was scoring penalties, when Vardy came off the pitch. And Brewster was an auto sub, I'm sure, but it's still a pretty good team for a dead team. So we'll see.
Yeah.
See how we do.
My team is not dead and Ray's team is not dead. So unfair for the first round. Like you are hoping to get like a kind of an easy draw, but it's a tough draw. Yeah. So let's get into the game week 17 fixtures. I'll have them scrolling down the bottom. So they kick off tonight, actually. Everton against West Ham. We have United against Aston Villa. We have Spurs against Leeds, Palace against Sheffield, Brighton versus Wolves, West Brom versus Arsenal, Burnley versus Fulham, Leicester traveling to Newcastle, Chelsea against City. I'm not sure if it's going to be played anyway, and then Southampton against Liverpool. So, Derek, game week 17 fixtures. Which one are you looking forward to as a fan, and which one are you looking forward to as an FPL manager?
I think Ray and I, we're always looking forward to the Leeds match. Doesn't matter who they're playing. You're going to get something with Leeds. I think United Villa for me it's got to be one of the potential blockbusters. I don't see that being cagey because Dean Smith really doesn't like to play that way. I also think, and again, we'll come to this, is I'm still very, very edgy and got a trigger finger, with my differential captaincy itch to my tendency is to stick the armband on Rashford here again. And certainly if you have Bruno, because I get the sense that Villa could be open. But they have a very good back four, so it's probably not the best shout. But that's kind of what comes to, like I said earlier, we would come back to this. I think Ray makes a very interesting point about form. I mean, how many times? I think a lot of times, if we look back throughout an FPL season or Premier League season, the goals don't fly necessarily. It's, City have West Brom, so you get a captain De Bruyne. Well, that in that week, lo and behold, Harry Kane will get a double against a mid-table side. Just not a team that it's terrible. It's not an obvious pick, but by the end of the match, you're like, oh yeah, could have seen that. There's no reason Harry Kane can't score a double on his day. Maybe not a hat trick, but unless you get the hat trick to come off in the week fixture, A lot of times the best fixtures are just the ones where it's like, look, pick the guy in form, pick that top player that, like you say, anytime, any place. I know Harry Kane can score. Anytime, any place. I know Jamie Vardy can score. I know Ray is really kind of high on Vardy in particular right now, where it's like, folks, this guy, you just gotta, he's going to be dangerous to you all year because he's Jamie Vardy and he scores goals. It's that simple. I know that's a really intelligent thought, but yeah, other than that, always looking forward to my club, but I think Liverpool, Southampton, even if I weren't a Liverpool fan, could be very interesting, particularly with Southampton's kind of dip in form here. I don't think they've scored a goal in two or three and a half matches. Not
basically, you can just say I don't think they've scored a goal since Glenn brought in Ward-Prowse. I've experienced it. You can just say 3 weeks having him no goals.
You were really unlucky too. I mean, you talk about Vestergaard for that hurts Ward-Prowse's fantasy prospects as well, right? Because you don't have that 6'7" towering center back. You still have Bednarek, who's still a threat, and Stevens is kind of a threat as well. But Vestergaard looked like he was going to score a goal on every single corner kick. It was completely insane. And so if you lose that, as much as JWP's delivery is fantastic, you know, somebody's got to get on the other end of it. And headed chances are tough. You got to have somebody who's really good in the air to bury that. And Southampton, it's not like Southampton they're not like, say, Chelsea when Giroud's on the pitch, right? Or even Abraham, where you've got, Zuma could head this in, Giroud could head this in. You know, anybody could really. So there's so many fixtures. Chelsea, Man City is the obvious where you'd say, wow, that stands out. That could be really exciting, but that could be really cagey too, frankly, especially that both teams seem to be Pep terrified of the counterattack right now, is playing a double pivot, and Lampard hasn't really attacked these tougher fixtures. He's really kind of kept it tight, I think, and conservative in these. So we'll see.
Ray, which fixture are you looking for as an FPL manager and as a fan?
As a FPL fixture, I'll go Spurs Leeds because I really want to see how Tottenham kind of approach this game because they've been very defensive minded the last few weeks. So, and I think they're going to be extremely, extremely terrified of what Leeds can do on the attack. So I think he's going to set up a couple of low blocks, get Kane to drop in and start hitting the balls forward. I wouldn't be surprised if Lucas Moura played this game because of his lightning speed on the counter attack. And of course, I have Son at the moment, and he's a bit closer to the chopping block than I initially thought he would have been a couple of weeks ago. I have a temptation that I might take him out, but they have a great run of fixtures on paper anyway. But Spurs aren't in form, and that's why I'm not captaining a Spurs player this week. So from an FPL aspect, I'll go Spurs Leeds. From a footballing game, I mean, of course, you're quite right, Derek, about Leeds, but I'll actually say Manchester United Villa because, again, I'm really intrigued on what the approach is going to be here. I don't think Villa need to set up defensively because they have such attacking prowess that they don't need to. And I've got my eyes, well, you did say just a game, but yeah, Man U Villa, I think it's going to be a really intriguing game. I don't think it's going to be cagey because I don't think Villa are going to sit back. And Manchester United right now are 3 points behind Liverpool, and this is their game in hand until Monday anyway. Chelsea, I think it's going to be a cagey affair. I think there'll be 2 goals in it. I don't think it will be a great watch, personally. So, yeah, 2 fixtures really, apart from Arsenal, obviously, is Man U Villa and Spurs Leeds.
Awesome. Let's take a couple of questions from the chat because the deadline is close.
Just a quick thing too, Glenn. I just on 2 things. I'd be happy to start my Chelsea or City defenders. I think, like Ray said in that match, don't bench your guys because they could come up with the big haul too. But like I said, the tough fixture. I got to bench my defender. No way. If you got a premium defender, play him. And the other one is you almost want your Spurs guys in the tough fixtures. I think, right? Because I think you say, oh well, they got these weak fixtures. Or easy fixtures where you can think, I'm going to fill my boots with Kane and Son. If teams sit in a deep low block against them and don't let them counter, they could be really tough. So I can see what Ray means. You don't have the form, and I'm not sure I would use that whole form breeds fixtures type mentality with Spurs because I'm not sure the fixtures will do it for them. I think their form comes when somebody attacks them. So
yeah. So the first question from Ital, he asks Ray. Among El Ghazi, Souchek, Coufal, Rodrigo, Wood, Justin, and Dier, which 3 would you bench? So, of course, Dier is playing Leeds. El Ghazi is playing against United. Souchek, Coufal against Everton. Rodrigo against Tottenham. Wood, I can't recall it, but yeah, which one would you bench from those? Which three would you bench?
Oof.
That's a headache.
I'm playing Justin, so I'd keep him in, obviously. I'd keep in Souchek just because he's incredible in the air, and there could be an outside chance that Antonio plays today. I think I'd bench Ghazi. I'd bench Dier. So El Ghazi, Dier, and I think Coufal. So yeah, so I would play Rodrigo, Souchek, and Justin. Yeah,
I'm very close on that. I would absolutely go Justin of the defenders there. Try to start attackers over defenders in general. So I think you can take Rodrigo there. I totally see the idea with Souchek. So I might say Rodrigo and Souchek are the two I'd waver on. I'd like to see what El Ghazi can do against that back line of United. I don't, like we said earlier, again, how do you think the game will play out? I'd rather pick the guys that are in the more open game. And I think if anything, I can tell you, I think the easiest benchings there, I agree with Ray on Dier. And I think Chris Wood, because I just don't see the chances coming. And Fulham haven't.
Well, no, the thing is that there's 7 players there. So he's saying which 3? So those 3 for me would be El Ghazi, Dier, and Coufal. So that means Rodrigo and Wood would both play.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I agree with you on I think you said Dier bench, right?
Yeah. Dier, El Ghazi,
I agree with you on that one. And then I'm deviating with I think Wood would be one of the ones I would bench. I would pick the other attackers there because I just don't see where the service and the chances are going to come from for him, especially if Taylor is out, because I think he's a big part of. They got a couple guys now that are doing better at this. I know Brownhill's been good for them, and Westwood can still deliver a ball into the box, but I think you're relying too much on the aerial threat and the set piece from Burnley, and I think Fulham could easily control that game too well, and it could be tough for you. So
I'd actually bench Coufal, Rodrigo, and Dier. I actually think El Ghazi will score. Of the way he plays, he gets so many chances in a game. I think he'll score against United. I also think actually Derek Wood will score against Fulham. I think their defense. I know they've kept a couple of clean sheets recently, but I think he'll score, and then also Justin, another player that would love to own. And then the next one, Derek from Ishan, he asks Justin or Mitchell.
I think it's got to be Justin. Absolutely. Just starting or whether you transfer him. I mean, there is some talk that PVA might not be preferred now, and that Justin could get that place because I guess fans and the chatter around Palace is that they're frustrated with him. But
he hasn't signed his contract yet. He hasn't signed his contract yet.
Mitchell?
He's actually out of contract.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. That is right. I forgot about that contract issue. But either way, I think you go with Justin here. I would say Justin over PVA, even if PVA was signed and all that. So much higher clean sheet potential. They look great attacking. And if you get a back 3, he's usually a wing back, and you've got even more chance at an attacking return. I don't think he's missed a single minute this year.
And they have the double in 19. And they have the double in 19. So for me, it's
2 more. I think 2 more good fixtures after the double, and it's Newcastle this week. You have to start a Leicester defender against Newcastle. I think you have to go for that.
Again, the reason why you forgot about that contract situation is because you're a Liverpool fan. Me and Dre, as Arsenal fans, we never forget contract situations. We have Ozil. We never forget contract situations.
Real quick, we're starting to let some guys go on free transfers here and there that we're kind of like, I wish we didn't have. We should have probably been able to sell Emre Can. Now
we'll sign him up.
Yeah, we've got Wijnaldum. That's our problem right now. We've got a contract headache with Wijnaldum, so we'll see. But
everyone lies says Ederson COVID. I'm not sure if any of you have had it, but
Ederson, according to Ben Dinnery, I believe, and others, that is confirmed. It looks like you're going to get Stefan in goal for City, which maybe that means you bench your City boys. I don't know.
But also, as his name suggests, everyone lies, so it could be a lie. It could be a lie from Ben, but I think probably it's true. Mitchell says, thanks, you're welcome. So let's go into the last 2 topics. Where I'll start with you. Captain picks for game week 17.
I put a poll out if I should go Sansalo or Bruno, and most of the people went Son, but I still went for Bruno because the guy's got the form. I think he's due a penalty soon. So I want to be all on that when that happens.
If it's been 10 minutes, he's due.
And exactly, it's been 2 whole games. But also, again, Sonny has the fixture, but Tottenham aren't playing well. And I'm going to stick to what I always say is I think FDR is non-existent this season because of obviously everything that's happening with no fans. I just feel anyone can beat anyone, as we've seen. So, yeah, mine is Bruno, like hands down. I think Bruno will return in this game.
Yeah, RK Sweetie, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. How about you, Derek, captain for this week?
Yeah, it's a tricky one for me this week. Like I said, I think Bruno is interesting. I'm a little different than Ray in this. I know what he means this year, where it's been very frustrating, throw the fixtures out the door, but I think you have to kind of ground yourself somehow. And I think, like I've said, you got to think twice sometimes about, well, it's West Brom, just don't just blindly captain somebody against the bottom, table teams. Like, for instance, Sheffield United. I wouldn't always expect you to. Sheffield United usually don't get battered, even though they can't win. They don't usually concede 3, 4, 5, things like that. You got to think about those things when you're where are the most goals going to come. Don't necessarily think about who's going to win the most handily. For me, I'm interested in Rashford because I wonder about Matty Cash. I think he might be on 4 bookings. Can you exploit that? He's pretty quick though. As a right back, he's certainly not the weakest link of defenses in that you could captain somebody against. I'm really down to Kane, Vardy, and then maybe Rashford if I'm really feeling it, and I'm having a hard time there. If I own Son, I would probably go Son over Kane. It seems obvious to me. But talking about like this fixture difficulty stuff, just where's the open game? Where do we look for things? You might say, oh, well, that's going to be Leeds, but I think to Ray's point, you could see Spurs get really conservative and scared of Leeds. I could also see that the way Leeds play, and I kind of want Ray's feeling on this if we have a second, is I don't understand. I don't pretend to understand Bielsa and Leeds too well, but from what I understand, they play this sort of man marking scheme. And I wonder if Leeds would almost be better at dealing with a sort of a Spurs break or a Spurs counterattack. They certainly have the energy and the work rate to chase back and track back with these guys, and they have enough pace. So I wonder, especially if you're Spurs, to me, the worry for them, and it's interesting you brought up Mora, even with Mora Bergwijn, they're really one-dimensional right now in terms of if it comes into Kane, it pretty much has to go to Son. And the real key is Ndombele, and Ndombele's worry is fitness and work rate and intensity, and that's the last thing you need in this game. So if I don't see Ndombele on the pitch for Spurs, or if Leeds are able to man mark a little bit and then mostly keep the pressure on Spurs, if you start to see Leeds are the ones that are in the ascendancy, scoring, against other teams, maybe that means the more they come tight against you, the more they pressure Spurs get more chances the other way, but maybe not in this match. I could almost see this could be a real breaking point of frustration for people. I know Spurs fans are kind of getting frustrated with Mourinho now, because now you see it's like when it's not working and the results aren't there, it's really tough to watch and it's really frustrating. So.
Yeah. Ray, is there any player that you don't own that you would have loved to captain this week?
Vardy. It's always Vardy. The man is he's evergreen. He'll never age. And
Derek?
Before the whole...
Go ahead.
Sorry. Before the whole...
quick, I see in the chat, Stones, Diaz, or Cancelo, all caps. I just say Cancelo for at least for 1 week, because Walker's out. They've got no other right backs. So sorry.
Okay,
go ahead, Ray, if you had another thought there.
You might as well take that question during the chat, because the deadline is in a few minutes for them.
Yeah.
Who should I captain? Salah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Pulisic will start.
Yeah, I don't think Ederson having COVID is not enough to put, make me salivate over a chance at City's defense. City's defense isn't built around it. In fact, Ederson actually causes them a lot of problems sometimes because he's a madman and he comes flying out of his box.
and thoughts on that team, Derek?
Oh, I mean, doing rate my team's a little tough on audio. I mean, just scanning it really quick. The defense looks really strong. Kane captain. There's nothing wrong with that. Bamford Watkins. You're going to love that team even more, I think, in a couple of weeks when Villa's fixtures ease up. You probably can do better than El Ghazi for me. We'll see if he can keep it up. The issue with El Ghazi is if Barkley's fit here soon, which it sounds like he is. And of course, the only reason he missed, I think the only reason he really missed, besides I'm sure they want to kind of work him back a little bit slowly, but he missed Chelsea because he's on loan from Chelsea last week. So if he comes back into the squad, El Ghazi's probably the one to miss out. So that might be an issue down the road. So, but you got a strong bench, it looks like. So
from Salsa Vlogs, Kane or Fernandes?
Well, I'll stick to my guns. I'll say Bruno. I'd say Bruno. I mean, I'm captaining him, so yeah.
Yeah, listen, you obviously know I dislike United, but every time I see Fernandes play, I'm just like, I wish I had him in my team, man. It's always painful not having him in my FPL team. Yeah,
Glenn, take a hit and bring him in.
For
even
who
I
though?
did.
Like,
even I own him, and I'm a jerk. So
yeah, until after the Son game, until after the Leeds game for Son and Kane, that's when I can start thinking it. And then, should I play Dier since I'm using Man City for game week 18 and 19, Derek?
Yeah.
If you own DS, you play him. You own DS, you play him. Absolutely, you have to.
Awesome.
It's too expensive. You get a premium defender, play him.
And the next question is for you, Derek. Who would you captain? Any player that you don't own that you would have loved to captain this week?
Like I said, I mean, if Leeds are Leeds this week, if we get another one of these where, I mean, one of my big frustrations was a couple weeks ago in the 6-2 United over Leeds that I captained Rashford and got nothing in that one. If we see another one of those, I mean, Sonny is the obvious one that stands to benefit. Fortunately, I have Kane. Players that I don't own. I'm really happy with the way my team is set up right now. Maybe it's just Salah, just because he's going to do what he does a lot of times. It's tough to deal with the way he just seems to be able to return no matter what. I know there's somebody I'm blanking on that I can't think of at the moment, but I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one. If he starts, what it
does. What does he do? He's never done anything in my team.
I hear you. I hear you.
Three times
that's kind of what bothers me is it took him a long time to kind of go back to Salah that I know a little bit, which is he can be wasteful and he can be very frustrating. And for, the first 14, 13 weeks of the season, he was just everything he touched was in, which usually that's more Young Men's Son than, that's the nice thing about owning Son is like, you don't get many chances, but when you get them, goal. Usually Salah is chance after chance after chance. And you just, hopefully 25% of them go in and you're still ahead. But, yeah, he finally, I thought, came back to earth a little bit, but now he's probably due. So.
Ray Ishan says, thinking of playing my wild card on double game week. Is it double game week? Because I've played all my chips.
I'm sorry. Thinking of playing wild card on double game week because I've played all my. Nope. I wouldn't do it at all because it's always good to have a couple of single game week players anyway. Example, Son is away to Sheffield United, so I want to play him. I think focus more on how many players you can get out for 18. I think that's more what I'd focus on right now. Minimize it to maybe just 2 hits, maybe -8. If you're going -12, -16, I just don't think it's worth it because you're going to get no points really. So I would hold on to the double game week probably. To the wildcard till probably 26, where we start to get more idea of when those what those double game weeks are going to be. So Ishan, no.
Derek from Razak, Stones ahead of Diaz, cheaper price.
I went with Stones. I needed the budget. I like it a lot. He seems more and more to be a first choice center back in that side. He's probably a little more of a rotation risk than Diaz, or quite a bit more. If you really just like, oh my gosh, I want him to play every single game. And I know there's a good chance in the double that he might miss one for me, and that's frustrating. But I actually got Stones in not thinking that City would double originally, and probably figuring I would get City had a really plum 19 fixture, single fixture. Was that Brighton, or I think they had Brighton in 18. But like Ray says, to his point, I wanted a couple of players that I just thought were better than, I could get this guy with a double game week, but I'd rather have Stones or Diaz for a single game week. So I think there's darn good chance you're going to get one match out of Stones, and if you really need the money, I think that's certainly okay. If rotation really makes you sweat, you got the money, you probably just go Diaz. Awesome.
Last topic, the gem of the week, the differential. Last week, my gems of the week were Saka and Giroud. Giroud scored, Saka assisted. So Ray, who's the differential for this week?
Mane, he's 8% owned, and I feel like he's going to go into a bit of a streak now because he's a magnificent player. And away from home, I always feel he's more threatening. Maybe it's just my own observation, but I feel like Mane away, Southampton. Yeah, I think Mane is the one.
to score against his former club. Wow. Okay, Derek.
I don't know if I'm always picking differentials. I just got to say, great call on that with Mane, and Salah obviously not a differential on the other side, but they could really get behind those fullbacks for Southampton, and now you've got a second choice center back in Stevens. I could see some real problems there. And Walker Peters, I mean, he'd probably be happy to take the yellow card if he needs to, but he's on 4 bookings. He probably doesn't want to take a yellow card. Trying to make a tactical foul on Mane or whatever. So it'd be interesting to see. So, by the way, if you might not want Walker Peters for 18 and 19 because there's a good chance Mane will get him suspended for one of those.
So who's
for
your
18,
pick,
I guess it would be.
So who's your pick?
Yeah, right. Gem. Gem is differential. Sorry, does it have to be a differential?
Yeah.
Under 10%.
Harvey Barnes.
He's got 2 in 2. So it's a good option. There's a good option.
I already own Rashford. You already know that about me. So, I can't wait for him there. But I'll say Harvey
Listen,
Barnes.
I'm sorry I'm going to pick an Arsenal player again. I'm so sorry, Derek. I'm so sorry, right? West Brom have conceded 5 goals at home to Crystal Palace. They've conceded 5 goals at home to which team was it last week? Leeds. They've conceded 3 to Villa. They've conceded 3 to Chelsea. Yeah. They've conceded 3 to another team. So that's like, I was doing a preview for Arsenal the other day. I think they've conceded 22 goals in like 5 games at home. Arsenal is there next. Lacazette was on the bench for the last game and he's definitely going to start this one. I'm very tempted in the last 10 minutes to take out Calvert-Lewin for Lacazette, but I'll be crazy. But Lacazette is a very, very good option against West Brom.
That's not crazy. No.
It's rebellious.
It's rebellious. Yeah. I think he can actually score in this game week against West Brom.
So I'm starting Martinelli against West Brom. So there's another one. But for people that aren't insane like me or that just feels too insane, go Harvey Barnes is my gem. But I'm on the record for that. But if you want another gem, a backup gem, I think it could be Martinelli, Saka if he's fit, which he might not be. Ray, to his point about Lacazette, and I know you guys are the Gooners here. Sounds to me like when talking to Ray earlier this week on my sort of mess of a live stream that we tried to put together, or that I tried to put together. It sounds to me like you feel like Aubameyang should come out of the team. That really you should have kind of Lacazette, Saka, Martinelli, maybe Smith Rowe, and right now Aubameyang is not your best option either on the left wing or through the middle. Am I right about that?
I am not for that. I am not for benching Aubameyang. I've been hearing people saying Aubameyang benched. I know he's been on terrible form, but I mean we have like 20 worse players than him in the team, so he can never be dropped. Never. He will come back to good form. Like the other day, he didn't play that well like the likes of Martinelli. But again, Derek, I actually don't think Martinelli will start because that's like 4 games in like 10 days for him. I don't think he'll play all those games after an injury. But hey, he could end up starting. But him and Smith Rowe, one of them, I have to sit on the bench this week. I'd bench Martinelli personally so that he doesn't get injured. Derek?
I think Aubameyang will be in just based on the fact that Saka is likely going to be on the bench. So, and then I could also see Martinelli not starting. So I could actually see Pepe, Smith Rowe, and Aubameyang behind Lacazette, just based on fitness. Because Martinelli has been out for months, and then he suddenly has 2 or 3 games in a row. We have to look after the guy. But in regards to the game, I just hope we attack him on the forefront straight away, not do what we did against Brighton, where we only started in the second half. Because the thing with Sam Allardyce's team is the moment that they get settled with their blocks, they're very difficult to break down. They conceded a goal so early against Leeds that's the worst thing for Sam Allardyce when he concedes a goal early. So,
I think the quick context for West Brom is a lot of those goal concessions have happened when they've been down to 10 men. You could look at that though. I mean, boy, they seem to have a problem of getting men sent off, which you Gooners would fully understand. But they've a lot of those goals came when they were down to 10 men, but also the flip of that is that I think they've been lucky, particularly because of Sam Johnston too, with his goalkeeping work. But in terms of XG, if you like XG numbers, they are very much outperforming. I believe they should have conceded a lot more than they have. So there's nothing wrong with continuing to kind of pick on West Brom because there's going to be, they're going to look stout. Some of these games they're going to put in a shift and manage to stay afloat, maybe keep it to 1 or even get a clean sheet, the odd clean sheet now and then. But I think sometimes they're going to get battered still for sure. They're just not good enough.
Ray Saul says Fernandez good captaincy. I think you agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Always.
And then last question, Derek, before we end it, from Razak.
Zuma. I wouldn't be in a rush to do that. If you're worried about losing the value, I will say I don't like Chelsea's defense nearly as much without Reece James. If you're going to keep seeing Reece James not play, like you guys are right about guys like Martinelli in terms of fitness, just managing minutes. They're going to have to manage Chilwell's minutes a little bit here soon, you would think. So I think maybe the time to sell him would have been another week or two ago, because you'll probably come into some a little bit easier fixture. I'd have to look at Chelsea's fixtures again, but you're in an area here where it's not like you're betting hugely on Chelsea's defense. And that real purple patch for Chelsea's defense made total sense because they were running through a great run of fixtures. And this is something that we're talking about United and Villa real quick, is everybody's, wow, look at all the Villa defensive numbers. It's like, well, yeah, Villa just had an incredible run of fixtures. So you got to keep an eye on that. I know Ray says with form and fixtures, he's more on the form. I totally agree with him, especially when it comes to attackers. I think you have to look at it for defense and how a team defense is doing. And you can really see skewed numbers when you see defense that's been up against Sheffield United, Burnley, et cetera, et cetera. And that was Chelsea's run for a time. So if you feel like you want to save that value, there's cheap. If you need to free up budget, it's okay to sell them. I don't think you have to.
What's your target points for this week, Derek?
100 always. I want to haul. I think I can easily go 60 or 70 this week. I like the fixture setup that I have. Worried about Martinelli maybe getting benched, like you guys said. Deciding between him, I'd rather start him against West Brom than Rodrigo against Spurs, though. That's kind of my little enabler headache I've got this wild card set up for 19. Where it's a little goofy for me this week, but yeah, I'd love to see a nice 70 would be good.
Again, Dre, I'm going to reference Liverpool and Aston again. Clearly, a Liverpool fan is aiming for 100 points. Are you also just aiming for 40 like me and Arsenal? Just 40 points for the game week? Nothing much.
No. My aim is between 60 and 70 points. I think I got the players to do it. I think they're in form. I'm quite happy with them. And a couple of guys over there who could really haul surprisingly. So. Between 60 and 70 points. Green Arrow, that's mine.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. You can check out Ray and Derek on Rebel FPL every week. You can find them on Planet FPL. You can find them on FPL Workouts a couple of times. So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you everyone for in the chat for the questions. Game week deadline is in 5 minutes. I also need to sort out my team very quickly. So thank you for watching, everyone. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.